28 years. Welcome back to V8Xtra. And one of the first things that you see when you walk into the paddock area at any racetrack in the country are the great transporters that each of the teams have. Mark Larkham takes you for an in-depth look behind the scenes.
Logistics in V8 supercars is such a big and important aspect of what we do. And let me tell you, it's a really difficult circumstance because if you can imagine your business that's operated here, every 2 weeks you need to pick it up and take it somewhere else in our country and operate at its very, very best. And up and down here, the pit lane, it gets better every year. And what we use typically, unlike the rest of the world, is we get to use B-doubles, a much bigger transporter, and lets us do a lot with them. This is what we call the A trailer, the one that's tucked up behind the prime mover. That's worth about $150,000. Then we've got our B trailer, the bigger of the two. They're worth about $300,000. But funnily enough, the most expensive bit is the bit that carts all of this around Australia, is the prime mover. Now, these are worth about $500,000. But believe me, most of these guys are sponsored because what trucking company wouldn't want their imagery attached to this beautiful suite of a truck? Now, what I also like, here we are, 685 horsepower. Now, remember, V8 Supercars got 650. So very similar in terms of their horsepower. You think, well, how would a V8 Supercar go pulling all of that? Well, it wouldn't, because this thing has 2,300 foot-pounds of torque. That's the grunt that tugs it along compared to, say, 470, 480 on a V8 Supercar. Let's pop inside and have a closer look at what's going on in there. Now, whilst from the outside up and down the pit lane they all look very similar externally, internally there's a multitude of configurations that teams will work with, and this is just one example. But the primary objective of the B trailer is to actually get the cars and equipment to the circuit. So beneath me here in the belly lockers will be engines, parts, the drawers here all full of parts. 2 cars sit on these ramps that fold down to be transported. Now, this particular configuration, once they've cleared all of that out, turns into an engineering debrief room. So after every practice session and race, the team of engineers will come in here with all their computers set up. It's air conditioned here, very comfortable, and be able to download and talk with the drivers. You can see Rick Kelly and Eric Pender up there at the moment, just going through the last practice session. Hey boys, thanks for letting us in. Let's go into the A trailer area and I'll show you where the drivers hang out. They're the guys that get the good gig. This is Gary Rogers' Motorsports trailer. They've got a different layout again. They've got their engineering room in the A trailer. And then in the B trailer, if we just come in here, come and have a look at the code. 178395. Can't believe me they gave the code. They're the numbers to Gary Rogers' bank account. If you get in there, let me tell you, you'll strike gold. Come with me. So they, same thing, cars up in here, parts everywhere, and drivers, nice privacy room up in here, which will be well fitted out, I'm sure. Oh, here, we've struck gold here. The boys are in here. Robert Dahlgren, Scotty McLaughlin doing hard. So this is the sort of hard work that you can expect drivers to be doing in their driver's room. But in all seriousness, it's a great little area, air-conditioned TV. They can keep an eye on what's going on the event. They can relax, get themselves in the zone, get changed in privacy, which will leave them to it. So, as you can see, really well laid out. So that just leaves one more thing, the driver. Who drives these great big rigs? Well, there's one guy right behind me, Joe Sullivan. He's as much a part of the pit lane as the pit lane itself is on our tour. Typical, as you can see Joe here, the truckies generally double as the tyre guys, which is a really critical role in a race team. And of course on Sunday night, Joe will be the primary caretaker amongst all the team to get all of this back, loaded in the truck, cars put in safely, off they go, back to the workshop, unload it all again, only to do it again 2 weeks later.
Thanks, Larko. Now, coming